Okay, everybody, welcome back to Stack Snacks. I'm John Swicky, and we are going to talk about, what's kind of becoming my new favorite AI app, Zoe again. And, this past weekend, the Claude bot, Open Claude, I don't know what it's named anymore. They keep changing. But, I got a little FOMO, and what I wanted to do this weekend is kind of see what I can automate and what I can kind of pass off to some agents that I can build in Zoe, and I just want to see how far I can get and what I can do in a short amount of time. I'm gonna go over a couple of things that we built, and keep in mind I did a lot of these things like in between other stuff. So I did some on mobile. I did some while my kids were sleeping in the car. So I kind of was building these things as they came into my mind. So let me get into it and let's show you a couple things. All right, everybody, we're back at it again. We are inside my Zoe, and I wanted to show you what we built. So the first thing I wanted to try to do was to see if I can have a Zoe agent take over the Twitter account for this YouTube channel, because I am very bad at posting on social media. Why don't we get into some of the automations we got built here? So we started off with, I asked it to come up with a Twitter growth plan. Let's see if we can open this up here. So basically, I just said, hey, I don't post on this. Kind of help me grow this and come up with a plan on how we could do that, right? So every Friday at 10. So it's going to kind of every Friday give me a weekly update on what it did, right? How the followers, what are the tweets that posted, what content did it write. It's going to pull data from this document, and that it kind of updates, and then mentioned any tweets. So let's go and look at our tweets here. So now that document contains, for AI content, I only told it to do, I think it was like a week or two, 10 days maybe, just kind of some content. So here's a couple of examples that it's going to work on today and how it's going to do it. Some, authentication stuff. So it's going to kind of go through and post those things on a schedule. And it's also going to, here we go. Go follow. It went and followed a couple of people on my behalf and said, hey, these are some good influencers that might work out. And then let's see if actually we can pull up an old chat. That might be a better way to kind of showcase some of this as well. Okay, so here's a good example of kind of what it's going to kind of do for me on a regular basis. So I posted one tweet, and then it followed 15 strategic accounts to kind of, I don't know, build some awareness. I created a growth plan. Inside of this growth plan, I don't know why it won't open, but inside that growth plan, it has suggested content that it can write. So pretty cool. It's letting me know that it hit some API rate limit stuff. So that's going to be it's going to happen. But here's what it wants us to hit on a daily goal. So a couple tweets a day, hitting around 20 a week. Try to do 5 to 10 replies. So that'll be interesting. I asked it to kind of engage, right? And then, content pillars, tool discoveries, insights, some resource threads, community engagement. And then, so I wanted to just get off and running, so I didn't pull in, next step is going to be actually automating, publishing some of these videos, right? But I kind of wanted just to see what kind of content it comes up with. So we're only into day 2 of that, but it's posted. It's replied, and yeah, we have about 3 followers, so we're starting from 0. So we'll see what kind of takeoff we can get. Okay, so now the next thing I built was, I've always wanted a project manager to help me build out some side projects, help me run the channel, help me manage all those things, right? So inside of Zoe, you could build out what they call personas. So I made myself a project manager called James, and you could pick which model you wanted to use, which is pretty cool. So I went for the cheapest one possible, because I feel like I'm going to talk to this person a lot, persona, because I want to have it set up some pretty regular check-ins with it. So what I did was the cool thing is I kind of describe how I want this person to respond, and it generates you out this kind of the persona document. Core purpose to help plan and organize a complete project without overwhelming pressure. Break down large tasks into manageable, actionable steps. Celebrate progress and offer genuine encouragement. I need that. Keep momentum moving forward with kindness, respect. If I miss a deadline, I don't want James to yell at me. Create or update task list. So what I did was I took all of my open tasks, and it's now living in a folder inside of Zoho, which James will have access to, and as well as my calendar, which we showed in the previous video. And we're gonna have it kind of control all those things. Kind of here's some example responses. Let's tackle this together. Here's what I'm hearing. You want to blah blank. What would be a good first step? Look like to you? So what I'm gonna have James do is kind of check in with me a couple times a week. And this might be, what I'm thinking is kind of, I ran some tests over the weekend. We're gonna email back and forth, and I wanted to be able to surface, like I said, those project-based things, those keeping me on a video schedule. Yeah, I'm really excited to see if layering James on top of those task workflows, how that works. And I'm thinking of potentially too having James do kind of a daily, what do they call them, stand-ups? Yeah. Check in with me every morning and give me kind of the rundown. Here's what's on your calendar. Here's what's on your task list. What can I do, maybe? Kind of a thing to take it off your plate. So we'll play with some workflows, but we're going to kind of automate the project management aspect of it as well. So let's look at one more persona that we made. So this one's called I just called it the home life man. That's a bad name. Home life manager. This is when I a lot of these videos aren't we kind of do a lot of this stuff live. Home life manager. I'm gonna change the name of that. But kind of it's gonna kind of look at, so now I gave Zoe read access to my email, and it's going to kind of help with the kind of house maintenance. Right? I own a home. And so it's gonna be things like, hey, did you change your HVAC filters? Hey, I looked at your email and, it's time. Did you respond to the quote you got for gutter cleaning? Winterizing the yard. There's a lot of just like seasonal work when it comes to owning a home. So like potentially too, kind of like this one's a good one here. I'm going to give it I have some kind of like maintenance documents and vendor information for people that I use. Keep a running tab of when I've had inspections and all that kind of stuff. And this one might be, the home project manager is probably like a monthly check-in. I'd love for them to kind of I'd love for them to kind of talk to James a little bit, which I'll see how that could go. But this one's kind of and the cool thing too is in some of the automations inside of Zoho, you could add a different phone number. So I added my wife's phone number. So the home life, terrible name, I'm sorry everybody, the home life manager is going to be sending text to my wife, sending text to me, just to keep us on top of all that stuff. So I'm really excited about this one. Okay, so finally, what I always like to do sometimes is try to build some stuff live. You saw some stuff that I already built, so let's go through and try to let's just build something live real quick that's been on my mind. So I gave it access to my Substack. So what I wanted to do is, let's see. So I need some help with maybe some promotional stuff and maybe kind of auditing the newsletter site a little bit, giving me some suggestions. So what I wanted to do is kind of start off with, we'll do kind of a growth plan like we did for the Twitter account here. You have access to my Substack because I am logged in with the browser. Can you take a look at my stats, and can you come up with a growth plan for me to get the subscriber count much higher? We'll just put to 250. let's give it a goal, right? So can we get the subscribers count to 250? And then what else could we do? Oh wait, and can you also kick off a monthly SEL audit of the site? I want you to look at the pages that were published in that month and let me know if there is anything that I can clean up. Okay, so when I'm publishing, sometimes it is I don't know if it's been a while since I talked about this. I do have 2 small children, so sometimes I either publish content at 2 o'clock in the morning when they've woken me up and I can't go back to sleep, or it's 10 o'clock at night and I can't sleep, and I'm finding pockets of time in between everything. But so sometimes we miss stuff. So let's see if we can kind of have kind of a growth SEO content manager role created for the Substack here. All right, so let's give that a whirl. Okay, so we kick this thing off. It's still kind of going. We are using Claude Code Haiku because we authenticate with our Claude account on our server. And I will say one thing that again, I would love feedback if anybody has it. What's the best browser the best model for browser use? Because I do see sometimes things getting tripped up. I've used we featured other tools. We have used other tools that, as browser extensions, they've worked pretty well. But yeah, if anyone's had good luck with anything, let me know. I keep trying different stuff just to kind of avoid some of these kind of issues that sometimes the models run into when using browsers. Okay, so just took a couple minutes, and now Claude Code gave us some stuff back. So we got our growth plan. How are we going to get there? Audit the top 10 most popular posts, add some internal linking, improve the homepage, clear value prop, like all that stuff pretty makes sense, right? Add a subscribe CTA to each episode, podcast exclusive content, link to the full post in each video description. I probably don't even do that. Sorry, I got a little tab happy. Viral growth loops, build the growth machines, publish a monthly AI tool scorecard, comparing tools. All right, all this looks good. Okay, so now the cool thing too is we have kind of a document too that we can give our agent to kind of work on. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. All right, I've set up an automated agent that will run automatically on the first. So this is our SEO aspect of the prompt too. Audit all posts for that month. Kind of hitting some key SEO points, give us some things that we can fix, quick wins, and then long-term content strategy suggestions. All right, this looks good. Let's go over to our scheduled tasks, and let's see if we got in there. It's probably, here we go. Monthly audit for SEO, Stacks, checking it out. So you guys can see how quickly we can kind of get these things up and running, how quickly we can deploy them. And I think, too, the more that we can kind of fill out the file system with certain things, I think kind of like the better some of these things will get. And to, like I said, like you guys saw too, I think for the Substack, it was using a browser. Some certain other things it has integrations for, like the Twitter account had a built-in integration. And I think too, what it really kind of starts to come down to is it feels like you could combine these automations with those personas. And I'm excited. And it starts to feel like you can kind of build. I can't think of another way to explain it other than like little employees that you can kind of go out and help you run your business, run little digital errands for you in a way, right? And kind of help, right? Help you and kind of do, like I said, do these kind of repeatable things for you and these jobs for you and these tasks for you, right? And and I think too, like, you start to feel the power too, right? Like if we go back to the Twitter integration, I was on my main feed last night and I saw the post that it posted on the YouTube channel's feed. And I hadn't actually read. I got a notification that it posted, but I didn't actually read the tweet yet, and that was pretty wild. I think that Zoe is becoming a platform where you can kind of build whatever you need in here. I have not hit I have not hit anything yet where I've been like, okay, that I need to kind of go outside that. And I think as I keep using it, as I keep, like I said, feeding and giving it more information, different little hooks, it keeps becoming quite a little workhorse. And I'm excited to keep going. If you guys are using this, if you're building, let us know, right? Let us know. And if you've got skills that you could share, or even other processes that you can share, cool things you've done, love to see it in the comments. And I'm going to do something which James is the project manager, but the YouTube growth, the Twitter account, the growth strategist, and the Substack growth strategist would appreciate. Subscribe to the newsletter. We've been putting out more lately. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. We appreciate it, you guys stopping by, and we'll see everybody next time. Thank you.